Okay, here's our video for today. Introduction into Inequalities. Our learning target is students will be able to read these on a graph. Okay, so we're going to be working with inequalities, which are less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and we're going to be working with graphing them and writing them based on graphs. Okay, if you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to go to our next slide. Okay, in our first slide, we're just going to go over our different parts of our inequalities. Okay, first I want to just talk about, the first one's not an inequality, but I want to talk about it so you can see how it's represented. X is equal to 2. Algebraically, we would write x is equal to 2. If I were to ask you to graph that, you would put a point, fill it in, you would put it right on the point 2. And notice how I put on the intersection of the tick mark and the line that goes across. Okay, it doesn't go above those lines, it goes right in the intersection of those lines. You fill it in, it's a big dot, that's 2. That's how you represent x equals 2. Okay, if I move down to my next word phrase, x is less than 2, so I would put x is less than 2. That is the less than symbol. X is representing all of the numbers that are less than 2. That's what this stands for. X is less than 2 is all the numbers less than 2. Okay, all the numbers less than 2. So that would be like 1, 0, -1, so on. So my graph, I would circle 2. Notice I do not fill it in. This is called an open circle. It is not filled in because it's not equal to 2. But I circled the 2 because I'm talking about all the numbers less than 2. 1.5, 1.9, 1.8, all of those. So I circle the 2, but I leave it open so that you know that that does not include 2. Now I want to shade in all the numbers that are less than 2. So 0, 1, all these numbers over here on the left side, these are all less than 1. So I make a big arrow. Okay, got to put an arrowhead on it because I want to shade in all the numbers less than 2. My answer is just like this dot for x is equal to 2. I had one dot. I have to shade in an infinite amount of dots. When I do an infinite amount of dots, it looks like a line. So I make a line. This is open because it's not equal to 2. Now, in the next one, we have x is less than or equal to 2. So less than or equal to. That has this bar underneath. That bar stands for equal to. Okay? X is less than, we have our less than symbol, or equal to. And that bar gives us the equal to sign. Now when I circle 2, I'm going to fill it in because 2 is included. So the difference between x is less than 2 and x is less than or equal to 2 is whether or not the dot is filled in. And that's called a closed circle. And then I still want to shade in the values less than 2. So the only difference between these two graphs is whether or not I fill in the circle or not. Okay? Same is going to be true for greater than. X is greater than 2, so I want all the numbers greater than 2. So I circle 2. I do not fill it in because it is not included. And then I shade in the numbers greater than 2. 3 and 4 are greater than 2, so I shade them in. For x is greater than or equal to 2, greater than or equal to 2. Again, I put that bar underneath. That represents equal to. Now when I circle this, I fill it in. That demonstrates that it is included in there. And then I fill it in. Fill in the numbers greater than 2, which is 3 and 4, and so on. I just stopped at 4, but this goes 5, 6, 7. It's a graph. It continues on forever. Okay? Make sure you have that copied down. If you need to pause, go ahead. I'm going to move on to the next screen. Okay, and let's do some examples. All right, let's graph the inequalities. So I'm going to graph these. Y is greater than -2. So I'm going to make a little graph. I'll put a couple tick marks on there. Make sure -2 is on there. And then -3 goes to the left, -1, 0. I'm going to circle the -2 spot. I do not fill it in because it does not have the equal to part. And I want to shade in the numbers greater than -2. So I shade it into the right. Okay. In B, W is less than or equal to 10. Make a graph, put a couple tick marks on there, put 10 on there, and then shade in. So it'll be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Make sure you have them in order from least to greatest. That's how we do a number line. I'm going to fill in 10. Circle it. I'm going to fill it in because I have the equal to bar. So I'm going to fill in 10. And then I want to shade in the numbers less than 10. 8 and 9 are less than 10, so I want to shade in these numbers because they're less than 10. Put an arrowhead on there because that continues beyond what I've drawn. Okay. C, x is less than 8. I'll make my graph. I put a couple numbers on there, 6, 7, 8. Make sure 8 is on there, 9, 10. Does not have to be in the middle, just has to be on there. I'm going to circle 8. I'm not going to fill it in because it does not have the equal to part. But I am going to shade in the ones less than 8. Which numbers are less than 8? Well, 6 is less than 8. 7 is less than 8. Okay, that makes it true. If I were to put in 9 is less than 8, is that true? No, that's not true. That's why I don't shade in the 9 and the 10. Okay, and for D, put a couple tick marks on there. Alright, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to circle 7. Alright, I'm shading in the numbers that make the statement true. So you can try them. Is 3 greater than or equal to 5? False. Don't shade that in. Is 4 greater than or equal to 5? False. Don't shade that in. Is 5 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, 5 is equal to 5. That's why it's filled in. Is 6 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, 6 is greater than 5. That's why I start shading that way. Is 7 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, that's why I'm shading that way, because they're the ones that make the statement true. 8, 9, and all those are greater than 5, so they would continue. Okay? Alright, if you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm moving on to the last example. Alright, write the inequality. Now I'm going to give you a graph, and you're going to write the inequality. So start with your variable, x. Okay, now determine, is it greater than or less than? Well, I've shaded in the numbers greater than the circled number. And I filled in the circle number, so I have the equal to part. And then what is the circle number? That is 6. So x is greater than or equal to 6. That is my answer. Okay? In B, start with my variable, x. Okay, I've shaded in the numbers less than. And it's just open, so that means it's not equal to. So it's just x is less than. What number is circled? -3. X is less than -3. That's how you write it. Okay? And that's it. If you need to go back and watch anything, go ahead. Otherwise, have a great night.